Bam.
All right, there we go.
We're back.
That should have been enough time for the intro music.
That was 10 seconds.
Yeah,
It was,
well,
10
it was
enough.
close enough.
It was too much dead time for me.
That was about
I was like, we're going to have to
one
sit
and a
and be
half
like
seconds.
5,
That was
4.
one and a half seconds.
Well, it's fading. Right about now, it's fading. I predict that. So
I think we need an intro.
Who did it in Ram podcast?
I'm Pete Coppenrath.
I'm
He's
Tommy
O'Deed.
I'm
And
Tommy O'Deed. And
our guest, Dave Russo.
Hey, America.
yeah, we're just going to step all over each other each night,
Yeah.
all night. That's what we do.
Yeah,
It's
we're a
good.
little rusty. We haven't done one in a couple weeks, so we're going to be stepping on each other. But
Couple
thank you
weeks,
for coming up.
couple months.
Oh, my pleasure. We're in Revere. We're in my old stopping ground.
Yeah, dude.
At
Revere.
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
Chocolate. Well,
Yeah. I think it's
chocolate. Yeah, chocolate.
chocolate
All right, I like
latte.
it.
I don't know what does latte mean
like
in
it.
Spanish. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know.
We want to plug the venue. They do podcasting out here, but it's also a great Colombian coffee shop. And it's summertime. They do have iced coffee. So come on by.
And they are looking to book other people to do their own podcast here. $50 an hour, and they'll do all your post production as far as getting it ready for you, and it's really nice. So
One moment. Let's
That's the plug.
Let's plug back. Let's start at the beginning. We're in Revere.
yeah,
It's 114, maybe 115 degrees.
it's
Feels
hot
about
as
like
balls
that, yeah.
outside.
And we are at Chocolate
Yep.
Correct, affirmative.
with the iced coffees.
Yeah,
And I'm drinking a hot coffee because,
Yes.
like you said, I'm a what did you call me? That was great.
that's factory New England settings. He can drink hot
Yeah.
coffee year
Factory
round. The
New
Colombian
England
lady's like, "You
settings.
want hot?" I'm like, "Yeah, he wants hot. He's good. He's built like that. Don't worry."
I thought that was good. I never heard that before. I
Yeah,
thought that
yeah.
was
He's waiting for a fist fight or a
fantastic.
hockey game, you know. So
I'm sorry,
yeah,
Peter.
no.
I stepped on Peter. I apologize.
No, we're still getting our rhythm here, and we got a list of stuff we want to get through. I want to start. You had a mystery item. You pulled a mystery item out of your pocket. Like, what do we got?
All
What
right.
is the mystery item?
So first and foremost, I've never really done many podcasts.
really,
Yeah, I haven't really done many of them, but you told me about this place, Chocolate in Revere, and I was like,
Close
it's
enough.
very interesting. Is it
Latte.
Latte?
Close enough.
Yeah, but that's what they're going to keep correcting me.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's
yeah,
what
yeah,
they,
yeah.
It's like,
No.
remember Einstein's thing? Remember Einstein's thing where Einstein teaches in class and he does 9, he does 8 answers right, and the 7th answer is wrong. Oh, he does 7 right, the 8th one's wrong, the 9th one, and all the classmates, they laugh at him because he got the
Right,
8th
right,
one
right.
wrong. He goes,
Yeah,
wait,
yeah.
I got 7 right. You didn't say a thing.
Yeah.
I got 1 wrong. All of a sudden,
Right, right.
I'm not the goods.
So from now on, if you're gonna buy this man a coffee, make it a choco latte.
Yes.
A choco latte.
I do like
Choco
chai latte.
I don't
What she
like
did
chai.
offer.
Chai.
Ah.
Chai falls under like what's that weird spice? It's really really expensive.
Saffron.
Saffron costs more than gold, like pound for pound.
I would
Horrible.
have lost.
Chive
I would've
tea
had to
like
phone a
that,
friend
and,
on
and
that one.
saffron have the same like icky. It's like curry. I don't like curry. Ugh. You like curry? Pete'll eat curry, right?
Yeah. I like.
I'll eat a
most-
pig's
most
ass
curries.
if you cook it right. I'll eat anything, but
Well, fry.
don't like those.
By the way-
don't like those spices.
If you do listen to podcasts, this one is going to be full of ADHD.
100%.
And Peter in the middle is the only one that doesn't have it. So Peter asked me a question a few moments ago.
Right.
Because
See?
I pulled something out of my
Yeah, we
pocket. And I was like,
trailed
oh my God, I found it.
What
How
is
does this happen to me? So I'm going to tell a story about, I'm going to show you what I have right here. This is a picture of the city of Sarasota intersection safety program. Basically, they have a picture of my 83-year-old aunt's car going through a red light,
Yeah.
doing a U-turn.
Wow.
And I get and of course her license on my address, so $158. So, I call up and I said, hey man, I go, what do you do when you know, like that wasn't my aunt driving the car? Because we had the car shipped.
Right.
So we had the car shipped.
Do you really believe it wasn't your aunt?
No, it's not my aunt. It wasn't mine. We
okay.
had the car shipped.
Right.
So the person driving the car, and I said to the guy, I said, listen, I said, it's clearly a man in the car.
Right.
I go, it's not an 83-year-old woman. I go, she hasn't driven. That's why we're shipping a car.
Right.
And they're like, well, listen, you got to get affidavit stamps, whatever.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the truth of the matter is, I'm the one that was driving the car. I'm the one that was driving the car to like the shipment place.
Nice,
because
nice. And you got lost.
Yeah.
And I know, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's
And
it's
when you
Florida.
get lost, you
no,
turn
it's
ar-
Florida.
you turn
I'm from
around.
Massachusetts.
You
I
turn
looked both
around.
ways, and I went. That's basically what happened.
yeah.
They took a picture of me.
Right.
Yeah. Those red light cameras.
I
are
didn't
just
see
a
that
scam.
coming. That was
No, but I'm telling you right
Yeah.
now, they got me. They got a look. They got a picture of this thing. So now, back in the old days, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send them a picture of money.
Right.
I'm gonna go, here you go.
Maybe it looked like this.
And I'm gonna say,
like
listen, my aunt was not driving this car. Right. It was the shipment people. Here's a picture of money. We'll have fun with it. The thing is, she's 83 years old, and we're never gonna let her drive again. So I'm thinking, because my aunt's pretty cool.
Does she live here?
Oh, she lives in now because I went and picked her up out of Florida. But I think it's pretty cool. I think we should let her leave her license as an outlaw. Yeah, 83-year-old aunt. Not pay the $158 in this way because I'm trying to be smart and you have a stupid guy. I'm trying to say like, auntie, you can't drive. Why? They took your license. Why? It's been suspended. Why? Because you did an illegal U-turn. But that wasn't me. I know it was me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the car's registered to her too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you're golden.
I'm totally golden.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, so my dilemma is I know she's never going to ever drive again in Florida. We're never going to let her drive again.
And she'll get penalized. It'll grow in money.
In Massachusetts, though?
Anywhere.
Yeah.
If it pops up in her records at some point, she could get fucked in the ass for it.
Right. Well, I don't know why you have to visualize say that about my aunt.
You know what I mean?
I don't. No, because she lives with me, and every once in a while I'm like, auntie, bathrobes, please.
No, that's not what I mean. You know what I mean? Like, she could have to pay it.
Right.
It could grow. It could swell.
Random question.
Yeah.
Is this your father's sister or your mother's sister?
It's my mom's sister.
Okay.
And she's lived with us or essentially around us our whole life. Like when we went to vacation to Disney World for a week, she would come with us.
Yeah.
And we'd go, you know what I mean? And always Christmas, Thanksgiving, the holidays. So, yeah.
So do you come from Italians?
Well,
All
yeah.
Italian?
The maiden name is Squiliciati, and the dad's name is Russo. And they took a T off it at the end so it would be less short. Like it's Squillaci, and then they cut off a T to make it shorter.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah, my parents weren't married, or my name would be Grillo.
Grillo?
It'd be Tommy Grillo. There's actually, listen, this
could be a dentist.
This is crazy. There's a dude walking around who
you got that one?
kid who looks a lot like me. He's 2 months older than me. His name is Tommy, and he's my half brother.
Is his last name Grillo?
That's Tommy Grillo.
Yeah.
That's weird. He's huskier.
Oh, so you both have the same Tom. You know what it is?
We have the same father.
You know, probably a pretty genius move because it's like it's good if you're dating more than one person and that other person has the same name. It's like you can't make a mistake by mistake.
If you're gonna,
I love my son Tommy. I mean Timmy. Jesus, off by a vowel.
If you're gonna franchise, keep everything the same. That's the whole point.
I mean, that's what George Foreman did.
Right. That's weird.
He's missing the best part of the story. Tell me, what was the dog's name?
At home, and the dog was older than me.
Yeah.
Tommy.
All right. Is your dad the father of Tommy as well?
Yeah, he bought the dog for my mother, and my mother had bipolar, like you read about Crazy Lady. She named the dog after my father.
It sounds like your dad is a pussy hound if he was a dog.
No, Tommy the dog.
I don't know.
And the dog was older than me, so my father told me I was literally named after the dog. You know, and it made sense. It was a joke that he's like, you're named after the fucking dog.
But your dog's best friend, so it's a good dog.
Yeah, he was a good dog. He was a poodle. He was like a mid-sized
Was he
poodle.
French too?
Yeah, French
This
poodle.
story's getting bad now.
I know. He was a good dog. He was all right. He was a dirty, mangy dog. He was an outside dog, and we lived on a dead end little alleyway street. You know, next to the train tracks in South Medford. You know, Tommy the dog.
Sounds like a cartoon.
He get
Tommy
his ass
the dog.
kicked by the other dogs. I mean, I remember I seen German Shepherds.
Really?
Huskies kick the shit out of them.
You're a Medford guy. That's right too. 02155.
Yeah. Wow.
Peter, where are you
Good
from?
with the zip codes.
I guess Central Mass. My dad was in the Army till I was 18.
That's right. You said that because you lived. You told me someplace where you lived.
I lived in Yuma, Arizona, which is one of the shittiest places on earth. Not
Did you
the
say
people.
Pennsylvania or something like that?
No, Virginia. I was born in New Jersey.
Oh, maybe it was Virginia because I had just been to Virginia a couple of weeks ago. That's right too, which was beautiful down there.
I've never been there.
I never wanted to go there, but I'll tell you what: if you have a loved one that you want to spend a nice long weekend with, what was the place that? What was in you? What was it again? I went to.
Did you go to Colonial Williamsburg?
Went to right near D.C. I don't know. I took a JetBlue. I fell asleep. Alexandria. Virginia.
Alexandria. Yeah.
Wicked nice. So they had wicked cool restaurants and like many choices on like a huge long strip. And the people were kind. Food was great.
Yeah.
People were drinking.
Is that considered the South? Is it like
it's right on the
beginning of the South?
It's the beginning of the South. It's right on the Mason-Dixon line.
The only South I've ever been is I've been to Memphis. That was so.
I mean,
And I'm walking to Memphis.
Yeah, dude,
Virginia
it was
is.
nice.
So I was there.
It was interesting. I went there strictly to go to Elvis's house. You know, so it was a different kind of poor though in the hood. You know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. They had all this rap music you never heard anywhere else. I went in 01.
Gotcha,
It was like
gotcha.
local Southern music. I'm like, oh, who's this? Who's this? This, you know, it was all great music. And
What was it like? Was this hot and
it was
heat?
hot.
Yeah.
It was hot. I was there in September. It was hot, and it was very like flat and wide, like big blocks, but it was country. You know what I mean? It was weird. It was different. It was different.
Yeah, it's definitely different than here.
Yeah, it was definitely different. It was a different kind of poor that I wasn't used to. You know.
Yeah, I never really traveled much growing up. I went to Florida when I was 16, had my first panic anxiety attack, and learned about that. I was a control freak.
That's a great place to learn.
Well, you didn't want to go on Space Mountain or what?
Excuse me. No, what ended up happening was I smoked a joint. I was like 16 years old. And I drove my Royce Union across town and smoked a joint. I bought a joint, no lie, off of Joe Bubblehead. It was like 3 for $5, right? Near Fairway Green Park. And I went and I drove and probably, I think, excuse me, I'm gonna put that water. And I was high and I started thinking about being on a plane for the first time.
Right.
And I got a wicked mad, like, panic attack.
This is after you were on the plane. You flew down, right?
No. This is before I ever had. This is why I know I'm brave. Okay.
So you had a panic attack.
Thinking about
of
it.
Flying there.
Because I knew we were going to be on a plane for the first time ever. I was going to be on a plane for the first time. And so I was high. So my heart started racing. I started thinking about it. And started thinking about, what happened? What do you do if, there's nothing I can do if all of a sudden the engine stops.
Right.
And so that freaked me out. You know what I mean? My heart was fluttering. I remember telling me, what do you mean your heart was beating so fast? I go, my heart, it was like putting your car in neutral and just stepping on the gas.
In your chest,
And I was like, oh, man.
You feel like you can't catch your breath.
Right. It was. I slept for about 14 hours. Great weed. That's what I came to think. But when I went on the plane, I went on the plane and
I hope you went sober on the plane.
Oh, yeah, no, I was 16 years old. I went on the plane, enjoyed it, but they had, how about this? And I've flown since then. I flew 2 or 3 weeks after 9/11, or whenever we were allowed to, maybe within the month. And I've never had this happen. We dipped it was the longest 3-hour plane ride I've ever had in my life, because I had still a little nervous.
Yeah.
It dipped from, I want to say, I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me.
Like
You know what I mean? It was, and I've never had that drop since then. Only one other time. Can I tell you one other time that I had a crazy flight?
Of course,
you're our guest.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right. So I was working at Hesse College in Manchester, New Hampshire. Actually, a tough school to get into when it's locked. Anyways, so I was doing this comedy thing. And I started doing pretty well at the comedy. So I started saying, well, if you're going to go to comedy, you got to go to New York. So I said, why don't I get a job at like a school in New York?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And live there and do what I'm doing here. And because I went to college in Pennsylvania, so I go back to the tri-state area and get back there. And so never in my life have I ever lied or made an excuse or anything like that. I would always be upfront with an employer. But somehow I said I called out sick or whatever. I gave excuse. And I was flying to Pace University, I think it was, in New York, or some art school in New York. Maybe it was New York School of Art. It was one of those, it was very artsy type thing. And it was like the Twilight Zone when you see the alien on the, like how bad the storm was. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going down when they're going to know I lied. And they're like, where was he going? To Pace University, or whatever the heck the university, Mass College. Yeah. And so, I don't even know how we got on that. I just remember the experience of flying. I've flown a bunch of times, but I've never really had too bad of experiences, thank God.
A reoccurring nightmare constantly my whole life is I'm on a plane. I'm just on a plane, and I'm horrified that I'm on a plane. And it doesn't even have to be crashing. But it's anytime I'm on a plane in a dream, I'm terrified.
I don't even want to talk about
Besides that, I love flying. I don't mind it. I like it.
Dave, that did bring something up I've been meaning to ask you about. So I didn't know you before you headlined a comedy show that I was hosting recently.
Okay.
And you
These people in the podcast don't even know I'm a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
They probably don't even know I
it's
do
pretty cool that
stand-up.
we haven't even mentioned that
Yeah,
yet.
the,
A very
uh,
accomplished one, too, you know?
Yeah, you're a very accomplished stand-up comedian. That's how I met you, a few weeks back.
Doing a hell gig in
Yeah, we were.
Quincy, was it?
No, it was
Weymouth.
Weymouth.
Yeah, South Shore. That's Quincy to me.
Yeah, same thing. Anything beyond Quincy Center is...
But did you end up in
Quincy
New
to me.
York at the start? I just I want to hear about
All
it.
right. You want to hear how my comedy career started?
Yeah.
I had such a... when they say the right place at the right time, I was definitely in the right place at the right time. I was living in Methuen, the 01844, and about 5 miles away was the Comedy Palace in Andover, which was one of the more full-time comedy clubs. There was one in Worcester. There was one there.
And what year is this?
This is 1997.
Okay.
So from 97 to 99, just a little before April of 2000, for 2.5 years. And basically, I'm going to teach how kids how to get into the club. So basically, I lived near that club.
Yeah.
Okay, so I ended up becoming the king of that club.
Yeah.
Okay, no politics intended. All right, I just went there every day.
Yeah.
And every week and every Thursday. So eventually, when I got on stage, I did well. And eventually, when somebody canceled or somebody did this, I was the go-to guy. So now I had a good relationship. I was a college graduate. I knew how to communicate.
Yeah.
I was professional. So now this is my hometown club. And I found out when you're the king of the hometown club, other people want to be in your club. Well, what club are you the king of?
Right.
So, okay,
Yeah.
I'll get you a spot at my club if you get me a spot at your club.
Yeah.
So that's how I ended up going from Nick's Comedy Stop to all the comedy palaces to Cambridge, to the Comedy Connection, Faneuil Hall, Boston, to any of the clubs going around the city. That's pretty much how I got into it. With that being said, I ended up stumbling upon this guy who was really good, and he taught a class. And so I was really taught the basics of the best of the 80s comedians, such as Don Gavin, Lenny Clark, the Steve Sweeney, these guys that hosted. It used to be the host headliner back in the 80s. There's a movie out there. You can see my shoulder in it when stand-up stood out. I'm in the green room when I first started doing comedy, but it talks about on a Thursday night, you might go see Lenny Clark, and he's the opening act, but he's the host headliner.
Right.
And that's how it went. So I kind of cut my teeth that way, where I was the opening act, and I was told, if you want to keep coming back, keep your time. And the thing back then that I don't know what the comedians are doing now is you had to work on a 5 to 7 minute set. That was a TV set. If you wanted to be on Conan, if you wanted to be on these guys. I don't know what the kids are doing now.
That's pretty much
I don't know
it. They work in five-minute increments. You know?
So at that point, I really only had 5 to 7, but I picked up a couple things, like Spike Tobin. I remember once he said, "How much time do you think you got?" I said, "I think I have like 12 minutes." And he pulled me aside, and he goes, "I'm very impressed that you said 12 minutes.
Right.
Because I just got off stage, I did well."
Right.
And he goes, "You probably have about 6 minutes, maybe 5.
Right.
He goes, "But I
You
like
could
the
kill
fact
for that long.
But no, he just He said, "But you know,
Right.
yeah, okay, you could be on stage for 12 minutes,
Right.
but you got about 5." And then I kind of
Peaks
got
and
that.
valleys,
But
peaks
he
and
liked the
valleys.
fact that I didn't say, "Oh, I can do a half hour," like
But
a
you're
lot of
very
people say.
congenial and likable, and there's no fear in your eyes. And
But you
as
do
long as
have
I've been
fear.
watching you.
You do have fear. You do have fear, but then you
Of
don't
course,
have
but
fear.
That's
It's
the job.
strange.
That's the job. I'd say tell the new kids, like, stand up is acting. You're acting what you are.
It is character driven.
It is, and it's
That's
just. It's what,
backing
you
up
know?
for sorry, I'm just fascinated about because I could have been doing it back then, but I wasn't. I was busy, wasting my time on a career in software, and
Really?
and so. Did you ever derive most of your income from comedy, or was there ever years you were just doing comedy? I know you got a regular job now too.
This is what ended up happening. When I got out of college, I wrote a program called RAP, Refined Academic Athlete Program. And it was a 10-step program to help kids continue education beyond high school, whether it was either go to college or maybe be a tradesman or electrician, something of that. Just something beyond education, beyond high school, because I was the first in my family to go to college.
Yep.
And my college was Division I, Wilkes University, and we were third in the country all academic behind Brigham Young and Stanford. Yep. And so I didn't do well in high school, but in college I kicked butt because I got to choose what I liked in school, and you only had to take 2 or 3 classes a day. And so when I got out of college, the economy. I didn't like the computer thing. I didn't get it yet. That wasn't my thing. I was more of a communications major. I wrote this program. I really wanted to be a motivational speaker. I wanted to be a coach.
Yeah.
And back then they didn't have what they have now. They didn't have back then I would have been doing videos on TikTok every day, but motivational speaking.
Yeah.
Things like chip the brick. You know what chip the brick means? If you want to lose weight, all you got to do is chip the brick. Instead of getting a large sub every day, you get a small sub every day.
Yeah.
Instead of getting a medium coffee with 4 sugars, you get a small coffee with 2 sugars.
Right.
Okay, boom, diggity, boom, boom. You lose 10 pounds in about 4.5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but they didn't have that back then, or I didn't know how to do it, and so at the time I still had a job as an assistant director of admissions about recruiting college kids.
Yeah.
So in my spare time, I was doing the open mic nights. And when I did the open mic nights, like I said, timing was everything.
Right.
The Boston Comedy Festival came into effect. And at the time, I was starting to get a pretty good name for myself that I was clean, I was funny, and kept my time, but I had like 10 minutes. Like I was a good opening act.
You're a character.
I was a good opening act because the other people I got their intro right. I was really good at introducing people.
That's important.
Like they really like the fact this guy's I'm a bit of fan. Whatever bullshit I would throw out there.
Yeah.
I opened for a lot of dudes because they said, "Hey, he gets him going and he gets off quick." Like I only had so much time. I think they like that. He's in it. Anyway, blah blah blah. So in 2000, they had the first ever Boston Comedy Festival. And at that time, I probably had 10 minutes. But I mean...
all you got to do for that is like 7 or something,
it was...
right?
what ended up happening was...
5 and 7, I guess.
We all picked out of a hat in the quarterfinals. It was 12 of us on like a Tuesday night or Wednesday night at Nick's Comedy Stop in Boston. Maybe 25, 30 audience members. And I picked first out of a hat.
Yeah.
And it was like 12 other comics on the show. And Paul Wayne was one of the judges, and some other guy was one of the judges, and they had never seen me before. And I went up first, and I did my 5 minutes, and I ended up winning that first night. And there was some legit comics
that the whole show
that night. No, but you know, if I'm going to be realistic though, the judges knew those other guys were better comics than I was.
Yeah.
Right.
But they probably had like an issue with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of lucked out.
How it played in the room.
No, I lucked.
Material and how something plays.
Well, my material did real well,
You know
and back then I had a good character going, and I was doing a whole thing on homeschooling.
I remember the
back 25 years ago.
Boomerang joke,
and so it was real unique back then. So I won that one, and then the semifinals we also picked out of a hat again, and I drew first again.
Yeah.
And I won that night and made it to the finals, and then in the finals I drew first again out of a hat.
Wow.
And I won the finals. I came in first place in the finals. So I won the Boston Comedy Festival. And from that part there, what ended up happening, you're asking me about what I do for a living.
Yeah.
So at that point, I was leaving recruiting from college because I kind of got it was a for-profit college. I really wanted kids to go into their education. We just really wanted, hey, you can afford it, you're coming in. You know what I mean? Yeah. Private means for profit, people. Anyway, so at that time when I won the festival, then doors opened up. Ray Romano's manager, Rory Rosegarden, got me. I'm sorry, Neon Entertainment got me, and I booked 46 out of 52 colleges. And back then, you were making $1,500 a whack.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so I was plenty busy. You know, I was making decent money there. One week I made in October, 2003 November. I'm sorry, 2011. I made $11,000 in 1 week doing colleges, and if I kept on that pace, that's $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
And I did not keep on that pace. But anyways, so that's how I kind of earned my living there.
It's hard to book colleges in the summer.
Well, no. Great point. No, I never even thought about that. But actually, no. In the summers, you would do the orientations, you would do the fraternities, you would do summer kickoffs.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, yeah. I did.
I got to mention, so your college background. What we haven't touched on is you were a really accomplished wrestler, correct? Like wrestling.
Yeah, that's its own little story. How I ended up getting into wrestling.
You wrestled in college too?
I wrestled Division I in college. I was ranked top 20 in the United States of America. I wrestled for Coach John G. Reese, who passed away, unfortunately, at 95 years old, the number 2 winningest Division I wrestling coach in the United States of America. He's a Penn State grad. He looked like Mr. Magoo, and he was aces in the hole. He was a gold glove boxer, and he was like Minnesota Fats with the pool table.
Yeah.
That was an amazing man. He was an amazing man, yeah.
That's cool, man.
So, wrestled against Army, Navy, Lehigh, Rutgers, Old Dominion, Penn State. Wrestled
Peter got
against
a little
them all.
judo background. He was into
Judo.
Yeah, I started doing that in the 90s for a while.
Jimmy Pedro, who was I want to say a 92 medalist.
Yeah.
He and I graduated together in 88.
I didn't know that.
Yes, he and I are Boston Globe All Scholastics together. When we see each other, our faces light up because we represented Massachusetts and the New Englands. And when my senior year, his senior year as well, I was the 112-pounder. I want to say he was the 125 or the 125, I believe. He won it his year, and I won it my year, and I'm proud to say I got OW, Outstanding Wrestler of the State Tournament that year. So I beat Jimmy Page on that one.
Nice.
But then he got All Scholastic champion, so we're tied.
My brother was a big Jimmy Pedro fan.
Oh, he's the best. His dad, tough, and his brother, kick-ass, too. Great family. Love him to death.
Another thing you did that I think is interesting, interesting credit, you were on that TV show with Wayne Newton, the entertainer.
I was on a reality show that aired in 2005, January 20th, 2005. Went till...
What was that like? Did they just tell you where to stand or exactly what to say?
Well, I'll tell you what it was like.
You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what it was like. It was people that meant well.
Yeah.
Wayne Newton, Mr. Las Vegas, didn't like how Simon Cowell treated people on what's that? What was it? America's Got Talent.
Yeah,
one
Yeah,
of those ones.
I think that was it.
No, not the one before.
American
Idol.
That's it.
And so he's like, "Listen, I'm Mr. Las Vegas.
Right.
You don't treat entertainers like that." So which was a mistake because people like that controversy. Wayne was very nice and respectful.
Right. Well, yeah.
He wasn't a bad guy.
Popcorn when that guy's playing. You know.
He wasn't a bad guy. But what ended up happening was, so it was a reality show called The Entertainer. It was a cross between The Apprentice and American Idol. And we had to do, they had about 5,000 people across America. They auditioned. They picked 10 people. And we competed for $1 million contract to headline in Las Vegas. I was one of the 10 people chosen, and I made all 10 episodes. I was runner-up for the $1 million. That's why I'm here right now at Chocolate and Revere, Massachusetts. No, I did not. I did not win the $1 million contract, but true to form, the winner, we did make an alliance that if I won, he would open for me, and if he won, I would open for him. So I did open for him.
But you got to work in that machine. That's like, you know what I mean? That's
well, this is the whole thing. This machine was the E Network, so it was not NBC, ABC, CBS. It was an affiliate.
But it was still
it was a feeder program.
Your days were filled.
But after the reality show, I realized, oh my God, they own this footage. I got edited. Excellent. I'm so proud of the work I did. Out of the 10 episodes, only one I look like a dick.
Did you dress yourself?
It's ironic. One episode.
I like one of the jackets you had on. You had like a black leather jacket on. I thought
that's my jacket. Yeah, I have a nice story about that. With that, but that they in one episode.
Such an asshole.
In one episode, it was a Liz Claiborne too, and don't even make fun of it. Great jacket, got it at Macy's, Burlington. I was just talking about that. I have a story behind that jacket as well. But now let's digress. We were talking about who chose the clothing. So I brought my own clothes. They would dress us for certain things, like when we would do Photoshop photos and stuff like that. And when we're on the E Network, they'd say, "Hey, you got to wear this
for the ads."
But one episode, they did try to trick us. And they wanted me to wear all this baggy pants and all this stuff. And Wayne Newton said, Dave, you essentially were the only one that were respectfully said, I will not wear these clothing. And so awesome. I won that episode. I won that episode.
Good for you.
But the sad thing about the reality thing was I didn't get it. And we weren't strong enough. We didn't get good enough ratings. It was Sunday at 10 o'clock. No, I got it and I accomplished it, but I didn't learn how to make that into because 6 months later when Facebook, Twitter, and all that stuff stopped.
Right.
So at that point, on the E Network, at one point we were on 4 times a week, an hour every time, 4 hours a week for 10 weeks.
Yeah.
And if you do that now, you're looking at 1 million followers. You can matriculate that. We didn't have that, so I had to kind of start all over. And
have you ever had a desire to have like an acting vehicle of your own that you write? So when that time comes, I want to do this.
Not only do I have a Disney movie,
and it
has to do with.
So you have an idea, yeah.
I just, I could share one part of the movie, but somebody probably rip it up. But
don't.
My buddy Dom Sardo, he knows what it's about. It's about him being a referee.
Yeah.
The guy who refereed my senior year wrestling match was at Malden High School. Was at my and I only lost one match that year, and it was the kid I was wrestling in the finals.
Yeah.
And that match ended up going into triple overtime.
Yeah.
And we had a kid from Malden who was the referee, Dom Sardo. And so this is the coolest thing ever, but if I'm going to talk about Malden and the 02148, and if I'm going to talk about wrestling, this is what wrestlers, this is how my wrestling how we were brought up to have, like, to stand up for what's right. So, back in the day, Malden was never really a good program. You go to the Merrimack Valley, these guys all killed us. So we kind of would get looked over. You know, if it was a judgment call by the ref, we'd probably get screwed over. You know what I mean? We didn't have really any power or anything like this. So now,
was it because the school was
it's just
less
everything.
funded?
Listen, there's always a little bit of corruption wherever you go. Not on purpose. It's just, hey, I grew up in Malden, you're from Everett, I'll give the kid a benefit of the doubt. It's just, I just think it's natural awesomeness. So, you know, but you got to do the right thing. You always got to do the right thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You might want the guy to do this, but when it comes down to it, you're going to do the right thing. And so at the end of regulation time, I think I get a point. Yeah. I think I get a point, and he doesn't give it to me, and I'm angry. Yeah. I'm snapping, and the funny part is, we go. They don't do triple overtime. They don't do overtime anymore.
Yeah.
It's one point and then move. Game's over. Yeah. So, but back then so I'm back. I'm mad. My wrestling coach is slapping me in the face. The whole crowd's like, what? It's like a Rocky movie in slow motion. Right. And so I ended up beating the guy in triple overtime, like 11-2 or something like that. Right.
Is being short an advantage in wrestling?
No,
I know
it was there for a second, but that guy was tall.
Side.
No, but the thing was, I remember looking. I want to plug Dom again. I remember looking at Dom, going, hey man, give me the point. You're from Malden, and that's when I realized right there. No. I'm here to referee to make sure you don't get screwed. I'm certainly not going to screw somebody else. Yeah, right. And that's when I learned right there. I live in the greatest. I was brought up in the greatest city with the greatest coaches. And that's why I'm probably going to get back into coaching and share that type of stuff. So I know that now, and I see him that now, and he doesn't even know how much that affected me. Right. Because I realized, hey, man, no. I'm just making sure you don't get screwed, but I'm certainly not going to screw some other kid. Yeah. How awesome is that?
That's a good story.
So that's. But you said, do I ever have a vehicle? Yeah, I have a vehicle for that. I have ideas. I have a vehicle for something like that. It's a little Disney movie because it'll teach you a little bit.
Yeah. Nowadays with technology, it's so easy to just take the germ of an idea and get it going good enough that other people see it and go, money, you know?
Wait, hold on a second. He smiled like that. Are they seeing you cough like that?
Yeah.
Are they let's start that shit all over again. Remember that?
Yeah.
I don't mind the mask. If you're Italian, if you got a big nose and nice eyes, the mask might not be a bad look on you. All right,
I coughed in front of a guy at Stop and Shop, and the look he gave me. Yeah. And I was like, from here to the camera away, I was like, while he was cutting my cold cuts, and he looked at me like I flicked a booger at him.
You know the sad thing is that people's health is just so bad that a little tick and trigger.
Sniffle,
I mean, they
kill
can
you.
Yeah, it's
I listen. I want to go on record because I don't. We said we weren't going to do political stuff today. Let me tell you why I like the mask. All right, I'm going to tell you. Let me explain. Because the women made it sexy. Some guys are legs guys, some guys are breast guys. I think I'm a mask guy. I mean, I met a woman with a mask and an eye patch. I'm like, no one's going for that one.
Right. But that one eye is done up well.
Hey, hello, nice eyeliner.
Yeah, absolutely. Makeup. And I seen an ugly girl the other day who just knew how to put on lipstick, and I was like, yeah, I'll die next to her.
I don't even know. When they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder, I totally get that now. And my godfather taught me a long time. He goes, concentrate on the things that you find attractive.
Right.
I'm like, I like when women sometimes wear masks on their faces.
Yeah.
Role playing.
Get yourself an Afghani woman in a burqa.
I don't think, I've asked women on dates. Sometimes they can't date outside their religion.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I used to date an Iraqi, lived with
and I'm like, they're over here.
Girl.
She won't go on a date with me. They're over here. No, it's horrible. It's horrible.
My old girlfriend was friends
with
the neighbors, and they had Saudi Arabian friends, and they were like cover their face women, and like I came into the kitchen and they had to get up and leave. Like it was like they didn't have a man with them. I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't.
You know what? In my entire life, because my mom was president of women's softball for like 25 years, I learned that, I knew at an early age that women earned the right to vote in this country in 1920. That's crazy. African American men were allowed to vote in America before women were. So they've been fighting a bunch of shit for a long time. And then, women went through, women's lib. Now, women's lib works for some, but some it didn't work for. I mean, it really is. I mean, if you look at statistics, there's a lot of women out there that are alone right now at their age. And so women been battling a bunch of stuff, man. Now they got guys trying to go in there. So I stay away from, I'm praying for them because I love women. Women are my friends.
Should the black man have gotten the vote before women? I'd say yeah.
That was actually very controversial. There was
the three white guys shouldn't be talking about this, but okay.
Well, I know the history there. That was a controversial thing at the time, whether that was a unified thing. Like at the time, progressives were, discussing whether we should do this one at a time or whether it was a unified issue.
All at once.
One thing, I grew up in Malden, and this never would have happened in my country if it was run by Malden. We had people like Dom Sato going, no. I'm still amazed at the history of our country and
our state.
I don't personally want to be responsible because I'm not even smart enough to.
I never talk about politics in front of a microphone or a camera.
I don't talk about politics because I don't want the government to know where I am. Hello.
Yeah, I'm just here to have fun and be silly.
I'm a big history fan. I listen to a lot of history podcasts.
I love history.
I like history. I'm a history. All right, let me ask you a history question. Can I ask you a history?
Yeah, go for it. I'll probably get it wrong, but
in 1986 in Alaska, there was a flight that was going from Alaska to Japan. Japanese airliner.
He won't know it, but I know it.
Okay,
I know it.
So it's about a UFO encounter with the mothership.
He is the biggest skeptic on Earth.
Yeah, I love
his arrogance.
I love it. We should talk about that.
Oh yeah, no, listen, his arrogance. He's like, Tommy, you don't understand the distance between planets.
No, that I love. That I love. But we can bend time.
Dimensions.
You can bend, and I can tell people how dimensions work. I know how we're supposed to be able to have 10 dimensions. If I was going to teach somebody real quick, in one room right here, we can turn on 680 AM and listen to the radio, okay? But you can't get 580 AM unless you turn that knob. It still exists, but in the other room, they listen to 580 AM. Yeah. So it's like, it's different frequencies. Yeah. So that I totally understand. It can be happening at the same time. And you want to rebut that?
No, that part I don't. The part I rebut is the idea that galactic civilizations have mastered interstellar faster than light travel and then routinely crash into a rock.
Okay.
No, it happens. Here's the thing, what
about the Anunnaki? What about Zechariah Sitchin?
He doesn't know anything about the Sumerian text.
I thought you
he's very Catholic. He went to church.
Hold on a second.
But he won't.
Wait a minute, don't dog the guy. We're trying to educate him. He's going to educate us.
I'm just saying.
What about Göbekli Tepe in Turkey? That's the oldest civilization that we know on this planet right now. Have you heard anything about that?
Yeah. What is that? Roughly 10, 12,000 BC?
Well, it's about 12,000 years ago, 7,500 more or longer than the written history that we have.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing is they've only really dug up not even 25, not even like 10% or 5%
A lot of it's built
of this. And it was purposely buried, and we don't know why.
What about the shit that they just found under the pyramids? That
but we don't know if that's still like you're skeptical about that one, right? Too.
That one I'm not even up to date on.
Yeah, so this one right here is very interesting to me as well. But I haven't heard anything. But I just heard other people. I don't think anyone's letting them down there. No one's just like, hey, there's water down there.
Down there. No, but there are structures that go 2.5 kilometers.
No,
down.
I'm totally. But I just haven't confirmed that yet. I haven't. Is it confirmed 100%?
That's the consensus.
Okay, so you don't think I got to go back to the PDA. You don't feel as though that we could have interplanetarily traveled
or
interstellarly,
interdimensionally.
I mean, in order to, I forget what the exact figures are, but I think when you approach roughly a third the speed of light, even hitting small particles, because space is not totally empty.
It's like particle entanglement where two particles will be connected bazillions of miles.
Oh, you're talking about quantum entanglement.
Quantum entanglement. That's what
Yeah.
I meant to say. Quantum entanglement.
Yeah.
That's along the line of how they're traveling. They're traveling at the speed of thought. Everything is everywhere at the same time.
I mean,
time doesn't go this way or that way. It
Well,
just
that's
is,
hold
fine.
on a second. Hold on a second.
and it's always here. And
what-
they know how to manipulate.
I don't know how we can travel that far either.
No.
That's why I kind of think we're in a
Yeah.
matrix. Because I can kind of figure it out. We're like, yeah, just nothing, because it just doesn't go anywhere anymore.
I don't think they
and
have
that
the
I can
comfort
kind of
level.
visualize that it goes. But then they have the telescope there. What's the Hubble guy? And he's finding stuff all over the place.
yeah, no,
he's
I mean,
finding
the new
black
one,
holes,
the new
eating
one.
stars, spitting them
there's
back
lots
out.
of stuff. Just the question is, I think it's the Fermi paradox, which is in the Fermi equation, which is
Sure.
But you don't have to play with the numbers in that.
Do you want to
much.
explain what the Fermi equation is to people?
Well, basically, it's the idea.
Tommy, do you know what it is?
Of course.
Yeah,
I want to make sure I know what it is, so you tell me.
I didn't come with notes.
So mathematically, there are
it's-
enough
yeah, it's-
planets
it's-
in the Goldilocks
it-
zone like us that could support.
Yeah,
That's the Parmesian thing? I thought that was the...
the Fermi paradox.
the Fermi-
was
I thought that was the
paradox.
Dracanian
Well,
one.
the paradox is where's the alien life, and the
Well-
equation is
You can go to the Amazons, and ants have never seen us, so thus we never exist to them.
What
is
is,
that the
what is
para-
No,
you're having
no, the-
congressional hearings about UFOs
All right, let's
with
back
it
up.
saying the
Back
words
up, back up.
biologics and dead aliens.
we said we were going to
like-
explain the equation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
basically, it's just this equation that estimates the probability that there's intelligent life by taking.
I thought that was the
That's what I
Drake
said.
equation.
I thought it was the Fermi equation. I could be wrong. It
The
could be
Drake
Drake
equation-
equation is something else that I can't remember, but the Fermi paradox.
This is why we need an intern looking this stuff up.
No,
you
hold on,
can't
hold
do
on,
it.
hold on. The
One or
Drake
the
equation is based on how many stars, how many planets, and
All
so
right,
that's
if-
how many. But the Goldilocks zone, that might be the paradox thing.
Well,
Whatever you're talking about.
the paradox is if space is so big and where's the alien life is the basis of the paradox. But I forget whether it's the Fermi equation or maybe the Drake equation. But you don't have to play with the numbers in that much in order for the probability to go much closer to zero. Like
No.
that's the thing is
There's so much evidence of strange, anomalous things. Like our government, the Pentagon just released a video at the Pentagon, this giant disc-shaped thing that was filmed, listen, from a plane looking down at the clouds. And this giant thing, it skirted between the clouds, it went here, and then it goes.
Well,
And
that
it's
could be
big.
Black Ops. That
What
could
can fly?
If-
What?
if we're going to
no
turn
heat
into the Joe
signature.
Rogan podcast, I'd rather talk about wrestling.
No, but listen, there's something to it. There's something to it.
no more
I believe,
weed
I
before the
believe it. I
podcast.
believe in
Yeah,
aliens.
that's the
Yeah. Another credit that I was.
All right. What
Whenever
do you
I
got?
get to meet and I become friends with comics that got to play big ass rooms, you got to do comics come home in the garden. What was that like?
Oh, yeah.
Standing in
I
the
was interested
fucking
in that, too,
garden.
yeah.
Okay, so
That had to be cool.
all right. So this is how that happened. It was at Boston University
No, it wasn't.
at the
I thought it was
at Gaines Arena,
Okay.
it's still a hockey arena.
and
you still played a hockey arena.
it was the year the Bruins won the Stanley Cup. And on the Wednesday before the Saturday, Lenny Clark couldn't make it, so they said, "You're up, kid."
Nice.
And so I went to Nick's Comedy Stop on a Wednesday, practiced my set in front of 15 people, ate it.
Right. Yeah.
And then went in front of another crowd on the Friday night, ate it. I'm like, oh my God. So if you ever have a big show, go in front of small, horrible crowds, because then when you're in front of a big
Right.
crowd, you kick ass.
Yeah.
But I had to follow Nick DiPaolo.
Wow.
And Nick DiPaolo he was obviously very edgy, and it kind of worked in my favor because the guys were doing a lot of women bashing jokes.
right.
And but creative, but
Yeah.
he was doing the Sandusky thing from Penn State, and I go, listen, I don't do a lot of negative jokes towards women. Like unlike these guys, I go, I don't do a lot of negative jokes towards women because first of all, I'm single and I need one of you people, and it kind of just worked there, and the homeschooling thing worked. So
Right.
I ended up doing pretty well on that show. And from that on in, I ended up covering it for Dirty Water TV from 2012 on to present day. I covered
That's
still.
cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I've interviewed them all. Who's your favorite comic? I probably interviewed them from from Burr to Louis C.K. to Stephen Wright. Lenny, Gav, Sweeney. Jeez. Some of the guys from outside. Robert Kelly, always great. Brian Regan.
Robert Kelly's from the same place as me. He's from South Medford.
Yeah, he graduated from my high school
Did he?
with me that year.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. You went to Catholic.
Malden High School.
Did
He
he go to
graduated
Malden?
from Malden High in '88.
Well, I know when he was a little kid, he lived in South Medford.
No, he
And
did.
then
They kicked him out of there. They sent him to us. We kicked him out.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. He's got a great story.
Yeah, he's funny. He's great. He's such a good comedian.
He was very nice to me.
He's just
very
like
nice
bang, 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 bang.
Very nice to me.
When I was a little kid, I was really like from like 14 to 16, amazing on a BMX bike, like winning trophies. And I remember he hung out with like the gangster kids. And the gangster kids would pull up in a carload. They'd stop and they'd have kids with them that weren't from Medford. They'd be like, Tommy, do that thing when you spin around. I'd be like, okay, guys.
Yeah.
And have to do tricks
We'll
for the
time you.
gangsters.
We'll time you.
Yeah, I'd hit the trick and they'd be like, yeah, and drive away, you know.
By the way,
like, I'll be able to call
chocolate, sorry to cut you off. Awesome.
It's good. It is good coffee.
I'm a Colombian coffee guy, and I like it.
Any more of those lemon things, or are we done?
No, we're out.
Okay, cool.
All right.
The
So I'm going to do a, if we wouldn't mind, if we can do a GoFundMe page to pay this ticket to
There
Sarasota
you
for
go.
my
Yeah,
8th.
yeah.
sure,
That'd
like
be
just
great.
search for Dave Russo and
Yeah.
you'll find his
Google
GoFundMe
me.
page. Yeah,
Nah,
Right,
Google-
right.
Venmo me.
Send him money. Send him money.
just
Now you got me coughing. Security.
yeah. I'm sorry about that.
So do you have any comments?
I didn't know we were just allowed to ask for people to give us money on this. That's a much better idea than I had.
Yeah.
You doing something on the Cape, or did that already happen?
No, so we doing what's called a residency at Skippy's Pier 1 South Yarmouth on 17 Neptune Avenue on Cape Cod. This Saturday night, the 28th, we have the queen of the funniest and filthiest mom in America, Miss Christine Hurley, E.J. Murphy, Pete Costello, Tyler Roderick on the road. But we do Mondays starting July. All Mondays, July and August. Mondays, we have coming up J.J. Walker, Lenny Clark, Jackie Flynn, Jimmy Carlton, Dave Russo, Tom Carter from America's Got Talent. You got to check out the website. And thank you for the plug. Skippy,
Yeah,
South
fucking
Yarmouth.
right. Fucking right. No, yeah.
Show up or I'll punch you in
Speaking,
the
I got to
face.
say this. Speaking of Christine Hurley,
Yeah.
she was literally before I started doing stand-up, I was just a co-host on my friend's podcast, and he would have comics on. And she was the very first comedian that I got to be on a podcast with.
Right.
And we had so much fun.
Yeah, good
And
personality for a
afterwards,
podcast.
She was like, honey, are you getting up? And I was like, what do you mean? You ain't doing open mics? I was like, what's an open mic? So honestly, me being in
Oh,
Boston,
so
me
she
being
got you to start doing them?
well, yeah, she was the first person to go, oh, honey, you got to
Hurley.
do it, you know, because I had her laughing the whole time, you know, we were just bullshitting.
Yeah.
She's awesome. She's fucking
She is
great.
the funniest and
She's
filthiest
great.
mom in America.
She's fucking funny.
If
She
you don't
can
know-
just,
if you don't know the
she
story-
can just go up and talk and flatten the room. You know what I mean? She's just all attitude.
She's
like,
she's
great.
definitely
confident as fuck.
definitely,
Confident.
if you have her on a podcast, she's got some stories. I mean, she's got
she's
5
great.
kids, daughters, sons, Aruba.
She's always
her
bitching
new thing
about
about she
Jimmy
lost her
Hurley.
teeth in a
Yeah.
bush in fucking Aruba. Anyway,
She's always bitching about her husband, the fireman. You know.
I have a lot of respect for the fireman. My grandfather
No,
was
me
an
too,
arsonist.
absolutely.
I almost got him to not step on that. So comedy's been good to me, but I came from a sports background and a dance background, and now
Yeah,
the
no, I gotta
comedy's more
say
fun.
that too.
Comedy's more
Listen,
fun now.
I gotta say all the things
Comedy's more fun.
that I wanted to say to you. I remember while looking through your videos, I came through a video of you doing a windmill
Yeah.
as a middle-aged man, as a grown man. And I was like, holy shit.
Oh, really? Was that like 10 years ago or
It
something?
was
At
probably
a
like 10.
Kowloon
It was
Christmas
old.
party?
It was old.
You know, I could do
Candy
it better.
Girl was playing
I
by
could
New
do it better
Edition.
now. I wasn't worried. What the hell was I thinking? I was drinking back then.
Oh, of course, probably.
I'm like, bring it,
probably.
don't sing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last time I did a windmill, I was sectioned. I was in Bournewood, out of my mind, kicking drugs, and they locked me in a room alone
so you
for a
break
long
dance
time.
alone,
Yeah,
huh?
to blow off steam, I started doing windmills. I was killing it, dude. I was
'Cause
doing
that's
the
too
ones
bad
like
they're not on
this, like
videotape.
this. Oh, I know. Eventually, another kid walked by and looked in the room and saw me. Went right to the day room and told everybody. You know, now they're all like
He
this.
was like this.
I
He
was
was
so
like-
paranoid. right. Plus that, I'll see you at snack time. You know?
I missed the linoleum.
Oh, I know. But all right, guys, we're going to cut it there because I'm sweating my hog off.
Okay.
And yeah, Dave Russo, check out that show one last time. Where can they catch it? I'll
Now,
get it
Skippy's
up.
DaveRusso.net, all the socials right there and all that crap.
Awesome. I'm Tommy O.D. This is Pete Coppenrath. You can catch us every Sunday. 7 p.m., 450 Washington Street, McSwiggan's Comedy Open Mic. Come down. The people in work think you're funny. Come try your luck.
It was
If you're a
fun.
comic. It's fun. Yeah.
We had a fun time, great food.
Yeah, no,
And
it is good food.
why am I having a brain freeze?
Trisha?
Trisha B.
She
Say
left.
hello.
She left.
She just, yeah.
All right.
Now I'm dealing
She'll
with
be
management,
back.
which is
She'll be
good.
back.
Yeah. So, all right.
She left on good terms.
Who did it in
But
Ram
she had us on.
podcast? Dave
Thank you.
Russo. Thanks, buddy.
Thanks.
In the face.